The message came on a quiet Tuesday morning. Every television, every radio, every phone on Earth suddenly showed the same thing. A tall creature with shiny black eyes and a body like a giant insect appeared on every screen. Its name was Ambassador Zethrak, and it spoke for something called the Galactic Council. Species designation: human, the creature said in a cold voice. You have 14 days to surrender your planet. You will give up your ships. You will accept your new role as servants of the Galactic Council. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities until you agree. The transmission ended. For a moment, the entire world was silent. In New York City, Secretary General Linda Porter sat in the emergency chamber of the United Nations. Leaders from every country stared at her, waiting for someone to speak. Outside the windows, she could see people in the streets looking up at the sky with fear in their eyes. How many ships do they have? Linda asked. General Kevin Brady, a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes, pulled up images on the main screen. The picture showed thousands of alien vessels floating near Mars. They were huge, dark, and covered with weapons. Over 3,000 ships, Kevin said. Each one is bigger than anything we have. Their weapons can destroy a city in seconds. Their shields can stop our missiles like they were toys. A diplomat from France stood up. Then we must negotiate. We must find a way to a what? Linda interrupted. You heard them. They want us as servants, slaves. There is no negotiation. Dr. Nathan Cole, a young scientist with glasses and messy brown hair, raised his hand. He was the head of Earth's new department for dealing with alien contact. Madam Secretary, I have studied everything we know about the Galactic Council. They have done this before. Many times. They find young species like us, and they give them the same choice. Surrender or die. Has anyone ever refused? Linda asked. Nathan shook his head slowly. No one has ever survived refusing. The Council has conquered over 400 star systems. They have absorbed dozens of species. They always win. The room fell into despair. Diplomats argued with each other. Some cried. Some prayed. The situation seemed impossible, but Linda Porter was not ready to give up. She looked at Kevin Brady and saw something in his eyes. A small spark of hope. General, she said quietly, tell me about Project Prometheus. The room went silent again. Most of the people there had never heard that name. It was the most secret program in human history. Kevin stood up and walked to the front of the room. In 1947, an alien ship crashed in New Mexico. The government recovered it and kept it hidden. For the next 60 years, scientists from every major country worked together in secret. We studied the ship. We learned from it. And we prepared. He pressed a button and the screen changed. Instead of the alien fleet, it showed something else. Hidden bases. Secret shipyards. Weapons that looked nothing like anything the public had ever seen. The fleet they can see, Kevin continued, is not our real fleet. We have 47 ships that we show the world. But hidden on the moon, on Titan, and in the asteroid belt, we have 600 more. Ships built with technology we learned from that crashed vessel. Ships that can match anything the Council has. Gasps filled the room. Delegates looked at each other in shock. You kept this secret for 60 years? The French diplomat asked. We had to, Linda said. We always knew that something like this might happen. We knew that one day, someone would come from the stars. And we knew they might not be friendly. So we prepared. We built. We waited. Nathan Cole added more information. The Council thinks we are weak. They scanned our planet and saw our public fleet. They calculated that we have no chance. But they missed everything we hid. They missed the orbital platforms. They missed the reserve ships. They missed the weapons. "So we can fight?" someone asked. "We can fight," Kevin confirmed. "But it will not be easy. We are still outnumbered. We will have to be smart. We will have to surprise them. And we will have to hope that our technology is as good as we think it is." Linda Porter stood up and looked around the room. She saw fear in every face. But she also saw something else. A small flame of hope beginning to grow. "For 60 years," she said, "humanity has worked together in secret. Countries that were enemies shared their scientists. Nations that fought each other built ships side by side. We did this because we knew that when the real threat came, it would not care about our borders or our flags. It would see us only as humans." She walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, 3,000 alien ships waited to destroy everything she loved. "The Council thinks we are primitive," she continued. "They think we are scared little creatures who will fall to our knees and beg for mercy. They are wrong. We are humans. We have survived ice ages and plagues. We have survived wars and disasters. We have always found a way to keep going, no matter how dark things seemed." She turned back to face the room. "So here's my answer to the Galactic Council. We will not surrender. We will not become slaves. We will fight with everything we have. And if we lose, we will lose standing on our feet, not kneeling in the dirt." The room was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, one person started to clap. Then another. Then another. Soon, the entire chamber was filled with applause. General Kevin Brady approached Linda with a small smile on his face. "I will begin activating the reserve fleet immediately. It will take a few days to bring everything online." "Do it," Linda said. "And Kevin? When the Council comes for us, I want them to remember this day forever. I want them to tell stories about the little species that refuse to bow." Kevin nodded. "They will, Madam Secretary. I promise you that." As the leaders of Earth began to prepare for war, a message was sent to the alien fleet. It contained only one word: no. Ambassador Zethrak received the message on his flagship. He read it 3 times, certain that there must be some mistake. No species had ever said no. No species had ever been foolish enough to refuse. He made a sound that was like laughter. "These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Perhaps both." He turned to his officers. "No matter. We will teach them the cost of defiance. Begin preparing the attack fleet. In 14 days, Earth will learn what happens to those who resist the Galactic Council." But far below, hidden beneath mountains and moons, humanity was also preparing. The real war was about to begin. 3 days after the aliens left, Danny was on a plane to Washington. He sat in a military transport with no windows, surrounded by other soldiers who had been at the landing zone. Nobody talked much. Everyone was thinking about the same thing. 30 days. They had 30 days to save the world. When they landed, black cars took them to the Pentagon. Danny had never been inside before. The building was huge and full of people walking fast and talking into phones. Everyone looked scared and tired. They took Danny down to a basement room with no windows. Inside were Admiral Catherine Moore, a woman with short white hair and sharp eyes, and a team of intelligence officers. Big screens on the walls showed pictures of the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships floating near Jupiter, waiting. "Sergeant Cole," the Admiral said, "please sit down." Danny sat in a metal chair across from her. The other officers watched him like he was something strange and new. "I've watched the video of your meeting with the alien commander about 50 times, Admiral Moore said. You smiled at him. You refused to kneel. Why? Danny thought about the question. He had been asked it many times in the past 3 days. He still was not sure he had a good answer. He wanted me to be afraid, Danny said. He expected it. When someone expects something, Sometimes the best thing you can do is give them something else. And you weren't afraid? I was afraid, Danny admitted. But being afraid doesn't mean you have to act afraid. My dad taught me that when I was a kid. A young woman in a Navy uniform stepped forward. Her name tag said Santos. I'm Lieutenant Maria Santos. I work in intelligence. We've been monitoring their communications since they arrived. She touched a screen and more images appeared. Ships, weapons, maps of conquered worlds. The Dominion has done this before. 17 times. They show up at a planet, demand surrender, and if the planet refuses, they destroy it. No species has ever successfully fought them off. Them will be the first, Danny said. Some of the officers looked at him like he was crazy. But Admiral Moore nodded slowly. That's exactly what we need to hear. Sergeant Cole, I'm putting you on a special team. You'll work with Lieutenant Santos and some others. Your job is to find a way to fight these things. For the next 2 weeks, Danny worked harder than he ever had in his life. He was moved to a secret base in the mountains of Colorado. There, he met the rest of his team. There was Maria Santos, who was smart and quick and knew more about the aliens than anyone else. There was Dr. Samuel Gray, an old scientist with messy gray hair, who had spent his whole career looking for life in space. And there was Captain Benjamin Price, an Army Ranger who was quiet and serious and never talked about his past. They lived in the same building. They ate together. They trained together. And slowly, they started to become friends. Why do you think he talked to you? Maria asked one night. They were eating bad food from the cafeteria and looking at maps of Earth. Zethrak. Why you and not the generals? Danny shrugged. He said he talks to warriors, not politicians. But there were other soldiers there. Higher ranks. More experience. Maybe he saw something, Ben said quietly. It was the most he had said all day. Some people, you look at them and you know they won't break. Maybe he saw that in you. Danny did not know what to say to that. He just ate his food and looked at the maps. Dr. Gray spent most of his time studying pieces of alien technology that had been left behind. One day, he called everyone into his lab with excitement in his eyes. I found something, he said. He pointed at his screen showing complicated diagrams. They're shields. The energy shields that protect their ships and soldiers. They're not perfect. They work on a specific frequency. If we can match that frequency, we can get through them. Can we match it? Maria asked. I think so. It will take work, but I think so. For the first time since the aliens arrived, Danny felt something like hope. They trained every day after that. Danny and Ben taught the younger soldiers how to move and shoot and hide. They practiced hitting targets at the exact frequency Dr. Gray had found. They studied maps and made plans for when the attack came. One night, Danny found Ben sitting alone outside, looking at the stars. You okay? Danny asked. Ben was quiet for a long time. 3 years ago, I lost my whole team. Mission went wrong. I was the only one who came back. He looked down at his hands. I'd been waiting for a chance to make it right. Maybe this is it. Danny sat down next to him. We're going to need everyone when this starts. You ready? Ben looked up at the stars again. Somewhere up there, an alien fleet was waiting to destroy everything they loved. Yeah, he said. I'm ready. On day 25, Maria came running into the training room with news. They're moving, she said. The fleet. They're coming toward Earth. Danny felt his stomach tighten. This was it. This was really happening. How long? He asked. 5 days. Maybe less. Danny looked around at his team. At the soldiers who had trained so hard. At the friends he had made in this strange time. Then we better get to work, he said. We've got a world to save. Everyone moved into action. There was no more time for fear. No more time for doubt. The enemy was coming, and humanity would face them standing up. Danny picked up his rifle and headed to the command center. The biggest fight of his life was about to begin, and he was going to be ready for it. No matter what happened, he would not kneel. None of them would. That was what it meant to be human. On day 26, something unexpected happened. A message came from the alien fleet. Commander Zethrak wanted to meet again. This time, he wanted the humans to come to his ship. Most of the generals said no. It was too dangerous. It was probably a trap. But Danny volunteered to go before anyone could stop him. "Are you crazy?" Maria asked when she heard. "They could kill you the second you step on that ship." "Maybe," Danny said. "But maybe not. He wanted to talk to me before. Maybe he wants to talk again. And right now, we need every advantage we can get." In the end, 3 people went up to the alien ship. Danny, Maria, and Dr. Gray. They flew in a small shuttle that felt like a toy compared to the massive vessels waiting in space. The inside of Zethrak's ship was cold and dark. The halls were built for creatures much bigger than humans. Everything was made of metal that seemed to glow with a faint blue light. Alien guards watched them with eyes that showed no feeling. They walked for a long time through the ship. Danny noticed things on the walls. Weapons from different worlds. Flags and symbols he did not understand. And in one corner, a small toy that looked like it had belonged to a child. It was old and worn, like someone had held it many times. Danny wondered what story the toy could tell. Finally, they came to a big room. It was like a throne room and a war room put together. Maps of Earth floated in the air, made of light. Danny could see the invasion plans, the landing zones, the targets. Zethrak sat on a large chair in the middle of the room. He looked the same as before. Silver skin, 4 arms, gold eyes that had seen more death than Danny could imagine. "You came," the alien said. "I was not sure you would." "You asked," Danny replied. Seemed rude to say no. Zethrak made that clicking sound with his mouthparts. "Your species is strange. Most beings would be too afraid to set foot on this ship. You brought scientists." "We're curious people," Maria said. Her voice was steady, but Danny could see her hands shaking slightly. "We like to learn. Learning will not save you. The Dominion has destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours. Then why did you want to see us?" Danny asked. The alien commander was quiet for a moment. He stood up from his chair and walked toward the floating maps of Earth. "I have been thinking about you, human. About your smile. In 400 years of war, no one has ever smiled at me like that." "What do you mean?" "Fear, hate, despair. These things I have seen in the eyes of 100 species. But not whatever that was. Not what you showed me." Zethrak turned to face Danny. "What do you call it?" Danny thought about the question. "Hope, maybe. Or faith. Belief that things can get better, even when they look bad." "Hope." The alien said the word slowly, like he was tasting it. "We do not have a word like that in my language. Not anymore." Dr. Gray stepped forward. "Commander, may I ask you something?" The toy in the hallway. The small one, like a stuffed animal. "What is it?" Something changed in Zethrak's face. For just a moment, he looked tired, old, sad. "It belonged to my daughter," he said. "Long ago, before the Dominion came to my world." "You had a family?" Maria asked softly. "I had everything. A home, a wife, a child. My people were peaceful. We studied the stars. We made music. We believed the universe was full of wonder." Zethrak's voice became hard. "Then the Dominion came. They gave us the same choice I gave you. Kneel or die. What happened?" Danny asked. We knelt. We thought it would save us. We thought if we served them, they would leave us alone. The alien commander looked at his 4 hands. They took our children and made them soldiers. They took our world and burned it. They took everything we were and made us into weapons. The room was very quiet. Danny felt something strange in his chest. Pity, maybe, for this creature who had destroyed so many worlds. You could have fought, Danny said. We were afraid. And by the time we understood what we had lost, it was too late. Zethrak walked back to his chair, but did not sit. I have spent 400 years proving my worth to the Dominion. I have done terrible things. I told myself it was survival. But you... He looked at Danny with those gold eyes. You reminded me of something I had forgotten. Something from before. What? What it felt like to stand up. To believe in something. To have hope? Zethrak raised one of his hands. A small object floated through the air toward Danny. It was a data chip, glowing with soft light. Take this, the alien said. It contains information about the Dominion fleet. Shield frequencies. Weapon ranges. Patrol schedules. Weaknesses that my masters believe no primitive species could ever use. Danny caught the chip. It was warm in his hand. Why are you giving us this? Because you smiled at me. And for one moment, I remembered who I was before I became this. Zethrak sat down heavily in his chair. I cannot help you openly. The Dominion does not forgive betrayal. But I can give you a chance. A small chance. Maria stepped forward. If you remember what it felt like to be free, then help us. Fight with us. I cannot. The alien's voice was firm but sad. I have done too much. Become too much. There is no going back for me. He looked at Danny. But perhaps there is going forward for you. Take the information. Use it. Show the Dominion something they have never seen before. What's that? Danny asked. A species that will not kneel. A species that fights not because they think they can win, but because they believe some things are worth dying for. Zethrak's mouth parts clicked slowly. Show them what hope looks like, human. I have forgotten, but perhaps I can still see it in you. Danny put the data chip in his pocket. Thank you, he said. I don't know why you're helping us, but thank you. Thank me by surviving, Zethrak said. Now go, before my officers begin to wonder why I'm talking so long with primitive beings. Danny, Maria, and Dr. Gray walked back through the cold halls of the alien ship. None of them spoke until they were back in their shuttle, flying toward Earth. That was not what I expected, Maria said quietly. No, Danny agreed. It wasn't. He held the data chip in his hand and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, an army was coming to destroy his world. But now, thanks to a sad alien who had lost everything, they had a chance. A small chance. But it was enough. It had to be enough. Day 30 came with fire from the sky. Danny stood on a hillside in California and watched the alien ships come down through the clouds. There were hundreds of them. They felt like burning stars, trailing smoke and flame. The ground shook when they landed. The sound was louder than thunder. He gripped his rifle and thought about the information Zethrak had given them. Shield frequencies. Weak points. Patrol patterns. They had spent 4 days putting that information into their weapons and their plans. Now they would find out if it was enough. All units, this is command, a voice said in his earpiece. Enemy forces are landing at multiple locations. Hold your positions. Wait for the signal. Danny looked at his team. Ben stood beside him, calm and focused. Maria was back at the command center coordinating information. Young Lucas Webb was there too, the 19-year-old kid who had been shaking at the first alien landing. He was not shaking now. You ready? Danny asked him. Lucas nodded. His face was pale, but his eyes were steady. Yes, Sergeant. Ready. The first wave of alien soldiers came over the hill an hour later. They were big, almost 7 feet tall, covered in glowing armor. They moved fast, and they carried weapons that shot beams of blue light. Danny had seen them in videos. He had studied them for weeks. But seeing them in person, coming toward him with weapons raised, was different. "Hold," Danny said into his radio. "Hold. Wait for them to get closer." The aliens thought it would be easy. Their intelligence said humans were primitive, weak, unable to fight back. They walked toward the human positions like they were taking a morning walk. "Now," Danny said, 100 rifles fired at once. But these were not normal bullets. Dr. Gray had modified them to hit the exact frequency of the alien shields. The bullets went through the shields like they were not there. The first line of alien soldiers fell. Then the second. Then the third. For a moment, everything was silent. The aliens stopped moving. They had never seen anything like this before. For 400 years, no species had been able to get through their shields. Now humans were doing it with simple rifles. Then the fighting really started. Danny's unit held their hill for 3 hours. The aliens kept coming, wave after wave. They brought bigger weapons, war machines that walked on metal legs, flying vehicles that shot fire from above. But every time, the humans found a way to fight back. Lucas Webb became a hero that day. When a giant war machine came toward their position, everyone else fell back. But Lucas stayed. He picked up a rocket launcher and fired at the exact spot Dr. Gray had said to hit. The machine's shield flickered and died. A second rocket hit its leg, and it fell with a crash that shook the ground. Lucas was hit by a beam of blue light and went down. But he was smiling when the medics carried him away. They had hurt the enemy. They had proved it could be done. Similar battles happened all over the world. In Europe, soldiers used underground tunnels to surprise alien patrols. In Asia, hackers crashed the guidance systems of enemy ships. In Africa, ordinary people with homemade weapons fought beside trained soldiers. The aliens had expected surrender. Instead, they found a world that refused to die. But the cost was terrible. Cities burned. Millions of people died. The aliens were losing more than they expected, but they had more to lose. Their fleet was still in orbit, sending down more troops, more weapons, more death. On the second day of battle, Ben was hit. Danny was fighting beside him when it happened. A beam of blue light caught Ben in the chest and threw him back 10 feet. Danny screamed and ran to his friend, shooting at the aliens who had hurt him. Ben was alive, but barely. His armor was melted. His skin was burned. Blood was everywhere. "Get him to the medics," Danny shouted. 2 soldiers picked Ben up and carried him away. Before they left, Ben grabbed Danny's arm. "My daughter," he said, his voice weak. "Tell her I love her." "Tell her I fought." "Tell her yourself," Danny said. "You're going to make it." But he was not sure. He was not sure about anything anymore. That night, Danny stood in the command center and looked at the maps. Red marks covered the world. Each mark was a loss. A city gone. A unit destroyed. A friend dead. Maria came up beside him. She looked tired. Everyone looked tired. "We're hurting them," she said. "More than anyone has ever hurt them. The information from Zethrock is working. They've lost more ships in 2 days than in their last 10 campaigns." "It's not enough," Danny said. "They have too many ships. Too many soldiers. We can fight them for weeks, maybe months. But eventually," he did not finish the sentence. He did not have to. "So what do we do?" Maria asked. Danny stared at the map. At the red marks spreading across the world. At the projection of the enemy fleet still hanging in space above them, sending down more death every hour. Their commander, Danny said slowly. Zethrak. He gave us this information because he remembered something. Because I made him feel something. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that bullets and bombs won't win this war. We can hurt them, but we can't beat them. Not like this. Danny turned to face Maria. But maybe there's another way. Maybe I need to talk to him again. That's insane. His ship is in orbit. The fighting is everywhere. How would you even get to him? Danny looked back at the map, at the position of the command ship floating among the stars. I don't know yet, but I know this. That alien gave us a chance because I showed him something he had forgotten. Maybe I can show him something else. Maybe I can remind him who he used to be. And if you can't? Danny smiled. It was the same smile he had given Zethrak on that first day in the desert. The smile of a man who knew what he believed in. Then I'll die trying, but I won't die kneeling. Maria shook her head, but she was almost smiling too. You really are crazy, you know that? Yeah, Danny said. But that's kind of our thing, isn't it? Being crazy enough to fight when we should give up. Being stupid enough to hope when there's no reason to. He looked up, imagining the alien fleet beyond the clouds, beyond the sky. Get me a shuttle, he said. I'm going back up there. One more time. The war was not over. But Danny Cole was not done fighting. Not yet. Not ever. The shuttle shook as it flew through the battle above Earth. Explosions lit up the darkness. Ships were fighting everywhere, human and alien, firing at each other in the cold black of space. Danny held on to his seat and tried not to think about how small his shuttle was compared to everything else. Dr. Gray was flying the shuttle. He was too old for this kind of thing, but he had insisted on coming. He had rigged a special signal that would make the alien ships think they were one of their own. It was working so far. Nobody was shooting at them. Almost there, Dr. Gray said. His hands were steady on the controls, even though his face was pale. The command ship is just ahead. Danny looked out the window. The alien command ship was huge. It was bigger than a city, covered in weapons and lights. This was where Zethrak controlled the entire invasion. This was where the fate of Earth would be decided. Once I'm inside, get out of here, Danny said. Go back to Earth. Whatever happens, people need to know. What exactly is your plan? Dr. Gray asked. Danny checked his rifle. It was almost out of bullets. He had a knife on his belt and a grenade in his pocket. Not much against an army of aliens. I'm going to talk to him. That's all I've got. That's not much of a plan. No, but it's what I've got. The shuttle landed in a small bay on the side of the command ship. There were no guards. Maybe they did not expect anyone to be crazy enough to come here during a battle. Danny stepped out into the cold air and started walking. The inside of the ship was the same as before. Dark, cold, built for creatures bigger than humans. But now there was noise everywhere. Alarms. Voices shouting in alien languages. The battle outside was not going well for the Dominion. For the first time in 400 years, they were losing more than they had planned to lose. Danny walked through the halls alone. He passed alien soldiers running to their stations. He passed rooms full of equipment he did not understand. Nobody stopped him. Nobody even looked at him. They were all too busy with the fight. He found the throne room by memory. The big doors were open. Inside, chaos filled the air. Holographic maps showed battles all over Earth. Alien officers were shouting reports. In the middle of it all, Zethrak stood watching everything with his gold eyes. Danny walked in. For a moment, nobody noticed him. Then, one of the officers saw him and shouted something. Guards turned, weapons raised. But Zethrak held up one of his 4 hands. Wait, the commander said. His voice cut through the noise. Everyone stopped moving. Zethrak walked toward Danny slowly. His face showed something Danny could not read. Surprise, maybe. Or something else. "You should not be here," the alien said. "How did you get through our defenses?" "Your friend helped me," Danny said. "The information you gave us. It's been very useful." Zethrak's mouth parts clicked. "You are either the bravest being I have ever met or the most foolish." "You said that before." "Still probably both." Around them, the alien officers watched in confusion. They did not understand what was happening. Why was their commander talking to this small human instead of killing him? "You came here to die," Zethrak said. "You must know that. Nothing you can do will change the outcome. The Dominion always wins. Even if you hurt us more than anyone ever has, we will send more ships, more soldiers. We will never stop." "Maybe," Danny said. "Maybe you're right. Maybe we can't win. Maybe every city on Earth will burn and every human will die." He took a step closer to the alien commander. "But you know what? We won't stop either. We'll fight until the last one of us is gone. Not because we think we can win. Because some things are worth fighting for even when you can't win." "What things?" "Family, friends, home, the belief that life means something. That's what you had once, isn't it?" Before the Dominion took it away, Zethrak was quiet. The battle continued on the screens around them, but he was not watching it anymore. He was looking at Danny like he was seeing something far away. "You remind me of someone," the alien said quietly. "Someone from a very long time ago. Someone who believed the universe was full of wonder instead of fear." "That person is still in there," Danny said. "I saw it when you gave me that data chip. I see it now. You hate what you've become. You hate what the Dominion made you. Hate will not undo 400 years. No, but choice can change what happens next." Danny held out his hand. It was a simple gesture. Human. Strange. "Help us end this. Not for us. For yourself. For that little girl whose toy is still hanging in your hallway." Zethrak looked at Danny's hand. He looked at the screens showing his fleet losing more ships. He looked at his officers, waiting for him to give the order that would destroy this small creature who had dared to come here. Something changed in his gold eyes. "Do you know what you are asking?" he said. "If I withdraw the fleet, the Dominion will destroy me. They will burn my memory from history. Everything I have done, everything I have survived, will mean nothing." "It'll mean you chose," Danny said. "After 400 years, you finally chose who you wanted to be." The room was silent. Everyone waited. Zethrak reached out with one of his hands and took Danny's. "I will withdraw the fleet," he said. "I will tell my masters that this world is not worth the cost. That humans are too stubborn." The clicking sound came again, but now it sounded almost like a laugh. "They will not accept this. They will send others. You will face more enemies. We'll handle them. I believe you might." Zethrak looked at Danny with something like respect. "Go, Marine. Return to your world. Tell your people what happened here. When they ask why the great commander Zethrak retreated from a primitive planet, tell them the truth." "What truth?" "That I met a human who smiled at death. And for the first time in 400 years, I remembered what it meant to be free." Danny nodded. He turned to leave, then stopped at the door. "Semper Fidelis," he said. "It means always faithful. It's what Marines say to each other." Zethrak inclined his head. "Semper Fidelis, then. Always faithful. To what matters." Danny walked out of the throne room and back to his shuttle. Behind him, he heard Zethrak giving orders. The alien fleet began to pull back. Ships that had been attacking Earth turned and flew away, back into the darkness of space. When Danny reached Earth again, people were standing in the streets, looking up at the sky. The alien ships were leaving. The attack was stopping. They did not understand why, but they knew something had changed. Maria was waiting for him when he landed. She was crying and laughing at the same time. "What did you do?" she asked. "What happened up there?" Danny watched the last alien ships disappear among the stars. "I just talked to him," he said. "I reminded him who he was. The war was not over. The Dominion would send more enemies. Humanity would face new challenges. But they had proved something that day. They had shown the universe that some species do not kneel. Some species fight even when they cannot win. And sometimes that is enough." 3 months later, Danny stood at Ben's bedside. His friend was alive. Hurt badly, but alive. They sat together and watched the news on TV. Stories about rebuilding. Stories about preparing for the future. Stories about hope. "We really did it," Ben said quietly. "We actually survived." "We did," Danny agreed. "But it's not over. More will come. Let them." Ben smiled, weak but real. "We'll be ready." That night, Danny walked outside and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Zethrak was facing his own fate. Somewhere out there, other worlds were watching what humanity had done. Danny smiled, not because everything was fine, not because the future was easy, but because he had learned something important. The universe was big and dark and full of things that wanted to break you. But as long as you had something worth fighting for, as long as you refused to kneel, you could not truly be beaten. That was what it meant to be human. And humanity was just getting started.